Hi everyone, welcome back to the Dr. Sia channel. In this video today, I want to talk about 3 reasons why we should in fact be posting video material showing each other all of the horrible things that the policemen are doing to people in America. So there are a lot of psychologists saying that we shouldn't be posting these because they re-traumatize people. Well, and I agree, that's a reason against. But let's look at 3 reasons why we ought to be posting these videos. Let's get started. Alright, so there are 3 reasons for why we should be sharing these videos with each other, showing each other all of the terrible things that the police officers are doing in America to the people who live there. Now, number 1 is that we tend to want to deny things. We tend to want to not believe in things. Number 2 is that our brain tends to want to conserve energy through something called homeostasis. And then number 3 is that sharing these videos invoke rage, and that rage will bring about change. So these are the three main reasons, and I'm going to delve deeper into these. And before I do recognize what's going on at the moment, and I do recognize that a lot of psychologists are saying that reposting these videos is re-traumatizing and that it provokes people into action. And I see that as not being a matter of psychology, that psychology just explains how that happens. I see that as being a matter of political opinion about whether people should be sitting at home copying what they are copying and calmly demonstrating, or whether perhaps something more radical is required with a government that lets people outright murder other people and then fires them as a solution to that. So this is a political opinion mixed with psychology. I just want to get that right out from the beginning. Okay, so let's then have a look at should we be sharing these videos? What are the 3 main reasons? So the first reason why we should be sharing these videos is because our brains tend to go into something we call denial. Meaning, because we don't want to be, bothered in our everyday lives, and we hear a lot of contradictory information to the kind of things that are happening right now and have happened in America for a long time, our brains will tend to want to go into something called denial. We tend to not want to believe that these things are happening because it would bother us if these things would happen. So our brain simply gives us something called denial. It just tells us that these things are not happening. It reminds us to look at the trees, look at the sky, look at something else, look at Netflix, do whatever. Do not notice what's happening around you. So the information goes into the brain, and the brain simply just blocks that information such that you don't even know it's happening. If someone asks you, do you think the police officers would outright just simply out of malevolence more than anything else attempt to kill a person or actually kill a person? You might go, no, actually I don't think something like that does happen, despite contradictory evidence to the fact that it does and has done so for a long time. These videos will make it more difficult for a person to deny the truth. When you're confronted with a video like that, it's harder to deny the truth. The second reason why we should be showing these videos is because of something called homeostasis, meaning our brains tend to not want to expend a lot of energy. Our brains, or the way that they're developed, is that because of evolution, back in the days when we didn't have a lot of food and so on and so forth, our brains would use a lot of energy. So to conserve energy so that we don't sort of die, one of the things that our brains does is that once it learns something, it tends to want to keep that there. It doesn't really look for relearning. It sort of says, look, there's no energy here, we've learned something, let's keep it at that. When things like this happen, when new things like this happen, or if they're new to us, but very familiar to a different community, our brains tend to just want to not really look at that. It tends to not want to absorb that information, the impact of that information, the radical meaning of that information. It just wants to sort of go, yeah, but things like that sort of happen, don't they? Things like that are sort of normal in a way, aren't they? Things like that happen in every country, right? Every country has problems with police officers killing people who look different or anything different to white, right? That's just normal, right? Now, it doesn't mean that that person actually believes that, but that's just the tricks that the mind is playing on them. Showing these videos to each other can have that powerful impact that it needs to have to get some movement going, to force in some of that energy in the person who's just simply seeking equilibrium, sort of not being changed in any way through their denial and through this homeostasis. The third reason why we should be sharing these videos with each other is that it evokes rage. And I know that a lot of people are going to say that this is really controversial. Why should we want to have rage? And particularly in the Western world, where rage and anger is viewed as the big taboo, as the worst feeling that you could possibly have, because it could result in all kinds of things like violence. Now, in that then I say, when we are abused, hurt, traumatized, imprisoned, tortured, enslaved over and over and over and over again, what does our mind, our spirit, our body give us to fight back? What energy does it give us to fight back? It simply gives us rage. Sometimes, in very rare times, that kind of anger and rage actually evolves into violent acts. Sometimes it evolves into peaceful demonstrations. Sometimes it evolves into somebody speaking back against their abuser. Irrespective of the actions that come with it, and I don't support every single action that comes along with rage, but what I do support is that people are raging, that they are angry, that they are out on the streets showing that they are angry, that they are fed up with it, that they are not going to take this violence against them anymore. That is a reason to share these videos. When I first saw this video of those policemen standing there or sitting there with their knees on this poor man's neck and him begging for his life, there was only one emotion that came up towards those police officers. One of rage, one of wanting to push them back, tell them to stop, force them to stop killing this man. Now it gets more complicated than that, because at the same time, I'm feeling this empathy for this poor man who's done nothing but exist, nothing but believe in his community enough that he dares to leave his home and go out on the streets. So with the intensity of the emotions that brings about, with the mixed amount of emotions that brings about in me, I feel like I have to take action. Now, it's not my country, it's not my place. There's nothing I can do other than take action here. So then I ask you, how will you take action? Will you take action through sharing these videos, through letting people know what's happening, through not going complacent, through not letting your brain take you into denial, take you into this homeostasis place, through sharing your rage and your outrage about the injustices that are being done in this country that is supposed to be the country that is leading the rest of the world? That is my spiel today. It was very passionate, it's very meaningful to me, and it's very outraged. And honestly, if I get to say something, we all should be. And when we all are, change can happen. All right, that's me for today. I'll see you next time.